Have you ever felt it? That profound, unshakable feeling that he loves you, even when the words, "I love you," never leave his lips. You see it in his actions, you feel it in his gaze, but his silence leaves a void in your soul, creating a painful confusion that echoes in your quietest moments. Why does this happen? Why would a man who is deeply in love be a complete stranger to his own heart? The answer isn't in what you can see or hear. It lies buried deep within the hidden realm of the human mind, a place the legendary psychoanalyst Carl Jung dedicated his life to exploring. Jung taught us a startling truth. Most of our deepest emotional decisions don't come from our rational thoughts, but from the powerful, untamed wilderness of the unconscious. This is where his traumas, his deepest desires, and his greatest fears reside, guiding his every move without him even knowing it. When a man like this falls in love, especially if he was taught to be strong and hide his vulnerability, his soul acts long before his mind is ready to admit the truth. His unconscious mind begins sending desperate signals through gestures, sudden contradictions, and seemingly random acts that are, in fact, pieces of a hidden code. This is the secret language of his soul, a primal scream for connection. Jung called the key to this language the anima, the divine feminine archetype that sleeps within every man. When he falls for you, this powerful energy awakens and begins to connect with you on a level he cannot consciously comprehend. His body speaks while his mouth is silent. His soul screams for you, even as he pushes you away. Before we decipher the first of these shocking signs that will expose the truth of his feelings, I need to ask you something important. An incredible number of you who find life-changing answers in our videos are watching without being subscribed. If this is the kind of deep truth you are searching for, please take a single moment to press the subscribe button and click the like button. It's a small act that ensures you will not miss the future revelations that could forever change the course of your relationship. And while you're there, I want to know how far this powerful wisdom is traveling. Tell me in the comments what city or country you are watching from, so we can see how Carl Jung's teachings are helping to connect souls all across the world. Now, prepare to look beyond his words and see the undeniable truth, because we are about to translate the secret language of his heart. When a man is in love and doesn't know it, he does things that seem small but say a lot. Actions that break his routine, that unsettle him, that even make him uncomfortable, and all for a single reason. You are in his emotional unconscious. In Jungian psychology, we project onto others what we lack, what attracts us, or what hurts us. A man in love often projects onto the woman qualities that he admires, idealizes, or longs for in himself. He observes you, listens to you, follows you, and often doesn't even know why you matter so much to him. It's not rational, it's not logical, it's deep. He may even become frightened of what he feels. He may pull away, get confused, behave contradictorily. But if you learn to see these signs, you will realize that his soul has already drawn close to you, even if his mind is still fighting against it. Many men were raised to be strong, not to show feelings, not to fall too much in love. This creates emotional blocks that act as filters. Love, then, doesn't enter as a direct confession, but as an underground current that is expressed in involuntary actions. And here's the interesting part. Those actions say much more than words. A late-night message, a prolonged gaze, a memory he mentions without you having brought it up in conversation, a sudden need to help you, to protect you, or even to argue with you. All of that is part of the unconscious language of love. Carl Jung said that a person becomes complete when they recognize all their parts, the rational, the emotional, the instinctive. A man who is beginning to fall in love without knowing it is in that process. His unconscious already knows it, his body is already living it, but his mind still needs time to accept it. What you can do is not force anything, but observe, read between the lines, listen beyond what is said, because that is where the soul's truth lives. In the next part, we will delve into the first concrete sign, when he pulls away, but can't let you go. A very common pattern in men who are deeply in love, but emotionally blocked. One of the most bewildering and, at the same time, most revealing signs that a man is in love without knowing it is this emotional back and forth. He pulls away, but then comes back. He says he needs space, but can't help seeking you out. He tries to set boundaries, but breaks his own rules when he feels you might really pull away. This pattern is not coincidental, nor is it necessarily manipulation. Many times, it is a clear reflection of an internal struggle between the unconscious and the rational mind. When a man feels something deep but has not consciously acknowledged it, a duality appears that fragments him. On one hand, his unconscious, connected to his anima, his emotional side, pushes him toward you, moves him, attracts him, makes him think of you at unexpected moments. On the other hand, his rational ego tries to maintain control, protect itself from pain, not to yield to what he himself considers a threat to his stability. This conflict generates erratic behaviors. One day he seems completely available, tender, present, and the next, distant, cold, evasive. But if you observe closely, he can't maintain that distance for long. What if he's not playing with you? Many women interpret this as a manipulation game. And yes, there are men who play games, but there are also others who are confused, scared, or emotionally immature and don't know how to deal with what they feel. Carl Jung said, "What is not made conscious manifests in life as fate." In this case, what he doesn't recognize as love ends up being expressed in contradictory behaviors that affect the relationship without him knowing why. That's why he leaves, but can't let go. That's why he's silent, but later he writes. That's why he avoids commitment, but gets jealous if he sees you with someone else. Why is it hard for him to stay? There is an idea that deeply frightens many men, losing themselves in a woman, not because they don't want to love, but because they never learned how to preserve themselves while loving. That fear leads him to take distance to reaffirm his autonomy. But when the love is real, the unconscious does not cooperate with that escape. It continues to draw him in, continues to connect him emotionally, even if he tries to extinguish that bond. Jung explained that the soul seeks to complete itself, and love is one of the most powerful ways that happens. When he pushes you away, it's often because he feels he's giving you more power than he understands, and that makes him feel vulnerable. What can you do? First, don't take it personally. Often the problem isn't you, but his relationship with his own emotions. Second, don't try to convince him. His rational side will only become more defensive if it feels pressured. And third, observe if with every withdrawal there is a return, if in every silence there is a reappearance filled with contained emotion, if it's noticeable that he can't let go completely. There is something more than superficial attraction. There is an active, unconscious connection. It's not about justifying, but about understanding and deciding if you are willing to deal with someone who is still learning to love. In the next part, we will explore the second sign. He protects you even without you asking. One of the purest and most primitive ways in which unrecognized love manifests. When a man is in love, even if he hasn't recognized it yet, there is a force inside him that is activated instinctively. The impulse to protect you, not necessarily with grand heroic gestures, but in small everyday acts. Warning you if you're late, lending you his coat without you having to ask, looking around when you go out together, taking care of you even when you think it's not necessary. And all of this, often without him understanding why he does it. Carl Jung spoke of archetypes, universal patterns that inhabit the collective, unconscious. One of them is that of the guardian protector. This archetype is not just physical, it's not about muscular strength, but symbolic, taking care of what is deeply valued. When a man begins to connect with his anima, the feminine archetype within his psyche, this guardian also awakens in him. And if you are that figure that connects with his emotional side, it is very likely that his natural impulse will be to take care of you, to protect you, to anticipate your needs, and he will do so without you needing to demand or ask for anything. How does this unconscious protection manifest? It's not always obvious. Sometimes it's disguised as concern. I'm texting to see if you got home okay, or I don't like you walking alone at night in that area. It may seem exaggerated or unnecessary, but it's his unconscious speaking. It is the reflection of an emotional bond that he cannot yet verbalize. Other times, this protection emerges as a silent gesture. He accompanies you, even if he doesn't feel like it, just so you don't go alone. He changes plans for you without even announcing it as a sacrifice. He is attentive if someone makes you uncomfortable or makes you feel bad. He reacts emotionally if he perceives that something is hurting you. This type of action reveals a deep connection. Your well-being matters to him more than he dares to admit. Jungian psychology tells us that we often act from a part of ourselves that we do not yet understand. In the case of love, this is especially evident. You can feel an intense need to care for, protect, be present without having a logical explanation. When he behaves like your refuge, like your emotional and physical security, even without a formal relationship or without having expressed clear feelings, it is the unconscious that is guiding him. And the most powerful thing about this is that this protection is not born from duty, but from genuine desire. Now, it is important to make a clear distinction. Protecting is not controlling. If the gesture is accompanied by excessive jealousy, impositions, distrust, or demands that reduce your freedom, we are no longer talking about unconscious love, but about emotional control disguised as care. True love does not limit. It accompanies, safeguards, strengthens. And the man who loves you, even if he hasn't said it yet, will act from that place. Not because he thinks he should, but because his soul already recognizes you as something he wants to keep, healthy and close. In Jung's texts, the anima acts as a bridge between the emotional and the rational world in man. If you activate that bridge in him, if his psyche associates you with that archetypal feminine energy, then he will unconsciously see you as a figure to care for, respect, and protect. And even if he doesn't say, "I love you," his way of showing it will be woven into his actions, in his silences full of presence, in his need for you to be well, even if he is breaking inside. In the next part, we will address the third sign. He remembers details about you that you yourself forget, a key clue that, without realizing it, he already carries you deep inside. One of the deepest and often most overlooked signs that a man is in love without knowing it is his ability to remember things that even you have left behind. Small facts, phrases, gestures, situations, apparently unimportant details, but for him, they were etched in his memory. And do you know why? Because when the soul connects, the mind retains without effort. In Carl Jung's psychology, the unconscious not only stores traumas or repressed desires, it also stores emotional connections, and those connections often manifest in the form of memories. But not just any memories, the ones that touch the soul. When a man remembers things about you, your grandmother's name, how you take your coffee, a song you mentioned only once, he doesn't do it because he has an exceptional memory. He does it because everything that comes from you passes through a special filter in his psyche, one that prioritizes what matters to him. He doesn't need to try. He doesn't need to write it down. You are already anchored in his inner world, even if he hasn't realized it yet. What kind of details are signs? Observe this. He remembers the exact date you talked about something painful. He brings up a phrase you said weeks ago as if it were recent. Does he know what perfume you wear, even if you haven't told him? He detects changes in the way you talk, dress, or look. He is interested in people or situations you only mentioned once. All of this is not coincidental. It is a sign that he has been emotionally present, even in moments when he seemed distracted. His unconscious is completely connected to you. And the most striking thing is, often he doesn't even know why he remembers everything. He just knows that he does. Jung spoke of the importance of emotions as a way of anchoring the soul. What touches us emotionally is recorded more strongly than what we simply think. When you touch something in him, a wound, a nostalgia, a hope, it becomes an emotional mark. And from that point on, everything that surrounds you becomes significant to him, even if he can't explain it. That's why, when a man is in love without knowing it, his emotional radar starts to register everything that has to do with you, as if a part of him already knows that you are part of his story. How do you remember that? A revealing question. If you ever ask him, "How? Do you remember that?" And he answers, "I don't know. I just remembered." Pay attention. His unconscious has already done its work. He already carries you inside. The most fascinating thing is that while his rational part struggles with fear, ego, or confusion, his unconscious continues to create a story with you. And one way to know this is when he remembers things about you, even more than you yourself do. Carl Jung said that the soul has different timelines than the mind. The soul feels, connects, records, while the mind seeks control, logic, and security. So don't be confused if he seems cold at times, but then remembers exactly how you felt on that gray day. Don't think he doesn't care if he doesn't say, "I miss you," but shows up with that book you mentioned only once. Don't underestimate the memory of the heart. The soul does not forget what truly touches its core. In the next part, we will analyze the fourth sign. He gets nervous when you're near, but he doesn't know why. Body language is a confession of the soul. There is something that the body cannot hide, even when the mind has not yet processed what it feels. Body language. And if a man is in love, even if he hasn't recognized it yet, his body will speak for him. In fact, it will speak too much. One of the most authentic signs is this. When you are near, he changes. He gets nervous, stares too much, or avoids eye contact. He touches his face, crosses his arms, and then uncrosses them. He laughs at things that aren't that funny. He talks fast or falls silent. His system is altered, even if he can't explain why. Why does the body react this way? Because the body responds to the unconscious. Carl Jung said that repressed or unrecognized psychic energy manifests in physical behavior. That is, what you cannot say, you express with gestures, movements, tensions. When a man has not accepted that he feels something strong for you, but his soul already knows it, his body is caught between two impulses, to approach and to flee. And that generates anxiety, clumsiness, discomfort, not with you, but with what he himself feels. Many times, a man in this situation doesn't understand why he feels strange around you, why he tenses up when you get close, why he becomes more serious or more jocular. It's not a strategy. It's an involuntary defense of the ego against an emotion it cannot yet process. Remember, real love implies vulnerability, and if he has learned to protect himself from pain, love disarms him. That's why when you are near, an emotional shock mechanism is triggered. His heart beats faster, even if he doesn't say it. He becomes more attentive or more uncomfortable, loses control of his usual reactions, makes awkward comments, contradicts himself, exposes himself. And all this happens because his soul is pushing him towards something that his mind does not yet dare to accept. You may notice things that he himself doesn't register. His tone of voice changes with you. He unconsciously grooms himself when he sees you. He becomes more serious or more hyperactive. He tries to fill the silences or immerses himself in them. He has small gestures of physical restlessness, tapping his fingers, touching his neck, looking down. It's not about a fear of you. It's about a fear of what you make him feel. Jung spoke of the shadow, that part of ourselves that contains the unaccepted, the repressed, the unknown. In many men, the capacity to love is in the shadow because they have learned that feeling deeply is dangerous, not very masculine, or a threat to their stability. When a woman activates that dormant part, the man doesn't know how to react, and his body betrays him because the soul is already awake, even if he tries to stay asleep. That's why he gets nervous, not because of insecurity, but because of depth. Not because he doesn't like you, but because you already matter too much. In the next part, we will address the sixth and final sign. He gets jealous, but doesn't admit it. An unconscious reaction that reveals what his ego denies. There is something that jealousy reveals before words do. The desire for emotional exclusivity. And when a man is in love, even if he is not conscious of it or doesn't want to accept it, his body, his gestures, and his silences reveal something his mouth doesn't say. He wants you for himself. We're not talking about toxic, possessive, or violent jealousy. We are talking about that sudden, involuntary, almost childish, Emotional reaction that appears when another man pays attention to you, or when you pay attention to another. It's the kind of jealousy that isn't spoken, but is felt in the air. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious reveals what the conscious mind does not dare to face. When a man feels jealous but doesn't admit it, neither to you nor to himself, he is showing that there is a part of his soul that has already chosen you, even though his mind is still in denial. And in that internal struggle, the result always shows. He suddenly becomes colder, his expression changes for no apparent reason. He makes sarcastic jokes about the situation. He pulls away, then comes back. He asks you indirect questions in a casual tone. What is happening is not superficial. You are touching a very intimate fiber of his psyche. When a man doesn't accept that he is in love, he develops internal defenses to justify what he feels. I don't care. She's just a friend. She can do whatever she wants. But if you get close to someone else, if someone else makes you laugh, if someone shows interest in you, that mental barrier cracks, and what emerges is the reflection of desire. He doesn't want to lose you, even if he doesn't know why. Jung spoke of how the ego creates a mask, the persona, to keep us in control. But the soul does not wear masks. The soul reacts from the truth, and the truth is that jealousy, when it is brief, controlled, and not manipulative, shows a real emotional connection. How to recognize this silent jealousy? Pay attention to this. He suddenly becomes interested in your past relationships. He interrupts you when you talk about another man. He changes the subject if you mention someone else with admiration. He makes passive-aggressive comments disguised as humor. He becomes more distant right after such a situation. These are clumsy but profound ways of saying, I don't know why, but it hurts to imagine you with someone else. And if you think about it, that is one of the purest forms of unconscious love. He desires you, but he doesn't yet know how to accept it. And so, the ultimate truth is revealed. His jealousy is not the mark of a man who believes he owns you, but the desperate, primal fear of a man whose soul has already chosen you. He fears the world will see the treasure he has found before his own mind has the courage to claim it. This is the sacred fear of losing you before he even truly has you, and within that fear lies the undeniable proof of his love, a message sent directly from his soul that says, you matter to me, even if my conscious mind is still lost in the fog. As the great Carl Jung declared, everything essential, everything true, begins in the unconscious. After what you have learned today, you no longer need his words. When he protects you without thinking, when he remembers every forgotten detail of your existence, when his body betrays his calm with nervousness, and when his soul cries out in silent jealousy, the verdict is, and his soul has already decided. He is deeply in love, and his mind is simply struggling to catch up to the divine truth his heart has already accepted. You now hold the key. You can trust what you see, feel, and know, far beyond the clumsy words he cannot yet speak. The real I love you has already been declared, not in sound, but in action. If this revelation has empowered you and finally brought you the clarity you've been searching for, then I invite you to join our tribe of seekers. An incredible number of people who watch these videos have not yet subscribed. If you want to continue this journey and unlock the deepest secrets of the human spirit, take 1 second to hit that subscribe button and press the like button to help this wisdom reach others who need it. And to solidify what you've learned today, leave a powerful comment for me below. Just write, I see the signs, if your eyes have finally been opened. Trust the truth you now hold. In our next video, we will explore the hidden dangers that arise when these unconscious signals are ignored. You will not want to miss it. Until then, listen to the actions, for they are the real language of the heart.